Let me tell you something you don't know. Real rage until you come home after 3 months hell-bent on finding a little peace after a brutal divorce, only to have some corporate vulture standing in your driveway waving a folder like it's the deed to your soul and screaming, "You don't own anything here, you'll pay every fine or face foreclosure." Yeah, that happened. That was Susan Rodriguez, the so-called manager for Valley Properties. And the look on her face when I flipped the whole script on her, man, that was justice, pure, messy, public justice. Have you ever watched a bully's world just collapse right in front of everyone? Because that's what you're about to hear. So, back up a sec. 3 months. I'm in Denver, licking my wounds from the ugliest divorce Colorado's ever seen, lawyers feasting on everything except my feelings and what little dignity I had left. When I finally crawl back up to my little cabin in Pine Valley, hoping maybe to catch my breath, maybe just remember who I am, there she is waiting. Not your run-of-the-mill clipboard-toting neighbor with too much time. No, Susan's got that corporate sheen, branded folders, ice-cold smile, business cards like knives all buttoned up and bulletproof, looking like she eats lawsuits for breakfast. "Mr. Morris, I'm Susan Rodriguez with Valley Properties Management," she says like she's reading me my last rites. She shoves this folder at me thicker than my old laptop, stamped with a logo that probably cost more than my last month's groceries. "We've documented extensive violations during your absence. Your account is in serious jeopardy." She goes on about standardized enforcement accumulated fees daily, compounding the kind of talk that makes you feel like you're standing on a trap door. Then she drops the number $2,400. That might as well have been $24,000 the way my finances looked. I could feel my heart racing and my pride circling the drain. I try to reason with her, ask if there's any way to work out a plan. She doesn't even blink. "Company policy doesn't accommodate personal financial issues, Mr. Morris. Violations compound daily, regardless of circumstances." Her voice is smooth, practiced, like she's been trained for years to crush desperate homeowners. And then get this, she starts reading my entire life off a tablet. Recent divorce, job change, credit score tanked. I ask her point blank how they got all that, and she just shrugs. Standard due diligence, like it's totally normal for your HOA to know more about you than your mother. But it gets worse. Susan breaks down their escalation procedures, rattling off phases like she's running a military op. Phase 1, fee assessment. Phase 2, coordinate with county for enforcement. Phase 3, legal remediation. She's checking her phone every minute like headquarters is beaming her instructions in real time. I look out the window. There's a black sedan with corporate plates across the street. I realize I'm not just dealing with a nosy neighbor. I'm up against a machine with real money and real connections. Then Susan gets a message and stiffens up. Regional director confirms escalation timeline, proceed with phase 2. I ask what that means, and her smile turns shark-like. "We maintain very productive relationships with all relevant county departments. Cooperation usually prevents the need for more intensive interventions." I swear I could feel the blood freeze in my veins. That's not an HOA fine, that's the kind of threat that ruins lives. She ends with the coldest line yet. "Company policy requires resolution within 72 hours. Non-compliance triggers coordinated enforcement." As she marches back to her car, I catch her on the phone calling me the target and reporting my financial vulnerability patterns. Like I'm some animal to be hunted. I'm standing there in my driveway feeling like a deer in hunting season when my neighbor Lena knocks on my door. Lena's an ex-county detective, tough as nails, no stranger to scams or bullies. She takes one look at the paperwork and shakes her head. "This isn't just a rogue HOA. Valley Properties runs systematic enforcement rackets across half the state. They target people like you, force you out, and flip your property for profit, all with government cooperation." Within a day, my life turns into a siege. The health department shows up, urgent water contamination inspection, all at my expense. Then code enforcement alleged violations, needing thousands in remediation. Zoning officers, city surveyors, all waving official-looking documents prepared by Valley Properties. And every agency has paperwork so polished you'd think it came from the state attorney's office. This wasn't just pressure, this was a full-blown synchronized attack. I asked Lena, how do they control all these officials? She just sighs. Money connections and a system that rewards turning a blind eye. You're not dealing with amateurs, Jack. This is organized crime just with fancier business cards. Sure enough, soon there's a parade of unmarked cars outside evaluators taking photos, pretending to assess, really just spying for the corporation. Then Susan returns this time with backup. A zoning officer, a code guy, and a slick regional supervisor who announces, Mr. Morris, you've got serious compliance issues requiring immediate remediation. Our legal department has reviewed your case. I watch the inspector taking orders from Susan, not even pretending to be impartial. Lena pulls me aside, whispering, they're running a corporate conspiracy. You're just their latest target. It gets even uglier. My property insurance is canceled for compliance violations. The bank calls because of the insurance. My mortgage is now in default. Full payment due in 30 days, or we start foreclosure. That's not just harassment. That's financial war. They're trying to break me fast, quiet, no mess, just another line item on a quarterly report. And just when I think it can't get worse, my ex-wife Patricia calls. Says she's heard about my situation. I meet her at a coffee shop, and after the usual small talk, I cut to the chase. How'd you hear about Valley Properties? She gets cagey, then admits during our divorce they courted her, showed her financial projections, market analyses, the whole dog and pony show about maximizing property value. Turns out she gave them inside info, thinking it was all above board, not realizing she was helping them build a case against me. I confront Susan at a diner, and for the first time, her mask slips. She admits barely that some employees are trapped meeting quotas just to keep their jobs. Her daughter's medical bills are drowning her. That's when I realize it's not just me versus the machine. It's the machine chewing up everyone, even its own. Then I finally get a break. Linda Miller, the regional director, slips up during a meeting. She's all about strategic property acquisition and regulatory partnerships, tossing out names, Fire Marshal Williams County, Surveyor Rodriguez, like their family. But she's arrogant too, confident. I mention old survey monuments, and she scoffs. They only use modern boundaries. That's when the light bulb goes off. 3 days and a mountain of research later, I find the original survey markers proving my land stretches much farther than anyone thought, even under the Valley Properties headquarters. Lena confirms it if those markers hold Valley's office is squatting on my land. Time for payback. Susan announces a live stream audit supposed to prove Valley's transparency. But halfway through, the community starts asking questions. Who appointed you? Who owns what? I drop the bomb, historic documents, legal maps, and a live county surveyor backing me up. Viewers watch Susan unravel in real time, first defensive, then panicking, finally screaming as she realizes everything they built is on land they don't own. Linda Miller rushes in, tries to spin it, but the chat explodes with stories from other victims. By the time the county officials step in, it's chaos. The fire marshal calls for an immediate building evacuation. Cops, lawyers, the whole circus. Susan completely loses it, clawing at documents, sobbing about her daughter's cancer, her whole world collapsing live on camera. Linda throws her under the bus to save herself. That's corporate loyalty for you. But the real twist, Susan turns whistleblower emails, memos, everything. She hands over enough evidence to burn Valley Properties to the ground. The board panics, fires. Linda blames unauthorized activities, and it all comes crashing down. The company's dissolved assets seized a $3.5 million fund set up for the victims. Linda goes to prison, loses everything. Susan serves time but ends up working for a victim advocacy nonprofit helping families spot the scams she once ran. Now, Pine Valley is a model for how to fight back, community-run with strict oversight, real transparency programs for families in crisis. All those fraudulent fees paid back. All that pain, well, some scars heal, some become warnings. So let me ask you, do you think Susan deserves a second chance? Or is desperation no excuse for destroying other families? Would you have fought like I did or just walked away? Drop a comment, share your story, because the only way we beat these corporate predators is by sticking together and speaking out. That's real justice. And trust me, around here, there's always another twist waiting for the next person who thinks they can steal our homes and walk away.